Me and my two other long-time buddies who were very good friends were cruising back into a quiet small town located 4 hours drive away from home, after returning from a trip that we have for at least a week long, hunting and camping together at the same time from the mountains, located at the eastern part of the state, which we had planned officially more than 5 months ahead before going on to that incredible hunting vacation. My buddies were my high school friends. Their names were Rick and Sam. This apparently took place around 5 years ago, when not a single night goes by that I have not even forgotten about what truly happened in that unusual event occurring. The three of us were camping at the mountains for a whole week long or even more, but I don't recall clearly. We had eventually managed to kill a small wild boar on that moment, and hadn't been able to finish eating it for the rest of those camping days. It was way more food than we had expected, but very happy we have a great time together up there in the mountains. I kept the boar's tusk for my animal bone collections when I was a wild collector when it comes to hunting. I've always been an animal bone collector since a kid, learning from my uncle, who was a big-time hunter and even a collector also. On our way into the small town after a long drive from the mountains, feeling all weary, which would often be something everyone feels from a hunting trip, we stopped to eat over in the restaurant Denny's. Sam was always the hungry guy between the three of us on this trip, fooling around like he had money when I'm always the one ending up paying at the end, or Rick would be the one end up paying instead. Occasionally, he was actually the one who ate the most of the wild boar we hunted in the mountain, and I am not joking. That guy is an eating machine. He wasn't even a big obese man at all, just because he happened to eat more than us too. I ordered some eggs with bacon. Rick has ham and fries. Sam got pancakes and breakfast sausage. Not just all, he kept ordering a lot of drinks too, when led to a higher total at the end. There was a beautiful waitress named Sarah, who had been very kind to us. Rick liked Sarah a lot and always tried flirting with her whenever she asked if we needed anything. Sam was always giggling about it. She mentioned that she was born here, and her grandmother used to work at an asylum, which is now abandoned for more than 20 years. Sam was joking about finding that asylum whenever we left the restaurant. I knew he loves joking around, trying to say he'll do this and do that, but in the end, he never does. He's the type of guy who loves joking a lot, but in the end, he'll never deliver what he can say, not to be rude. When we were leaving, Rick ended up not asking the waitress for her phone number. We left Denny's afterwards and hit the road. While leaving, I can still see the waitress looking out through the window, checking on us. Rick was smiling, and I didn't bother to ask why did he actually refuse to get her phone number. Driving about miles away from the town heading east, we found a dirt road that leads to the asylum. Sam didn't tell us that he was going to take us there, and just merged through that road without saying anything. Are you really going to that asylum place? I remember asking Sam. He laughs wildly and waits for a second, then answers me, "Don't tell me you're chickening out now, bro." Rick was even shocked, also thinking why we were heading there when he and I thought it was a joke from the beginning, which I can see from his face. The dirt road went on as far as 100 yards from the road, passing through the woods, before reaching to an old abandoned asylum, sitting in the middle of the forest. The fences around the building were found broken on the ground, appearing like it was all torn down. We park right inside of the fences right in front of the house, which may have been the checking-in office before going to the building sitting from behind. When I got out of the car, I saw an old muddy dried sign on the floor. I had to use my right foot to scrape the dried mud right off the board sign, to find out what it said, due to the fact it was covered. It was written, Greatwoods. That was the name of the abandoned asylum. "Here we are," said Sam, tapping my shoulder when I kept looking at him, smiling back at me like he was surprised that we felt spooked. Rick didn't even care, and kept standing in front of us, locking his eyes onto the old building sitting behind the old house in front of us. Sam led the three of us into the building, going through the front doorway entrance. I kept wondering, how often does people still come here to check on this abandoned area, when it happened to appear like the fences and the sign were destroyed to the ground? The door was missing a doorknob, so it was easy for us three to walk right inside the asylum building that second, like it was left open from whoever came to destroy it. Though it never came to mind why we just didn't forget about going inside and leave, when it was a crazy idea trying to lurk inside an abandoned place, especially an abandoned asylum. Inside the lobby area appears so old and dusty. Spider webs can be seen above the corner of the ceilings. The halls were creepily dirty, with marks and cracks almost as someone came in here, acting rudely and started smashing around the walls. Chairs were found flipped over or broken lying around the floor. The receptionist desk appears like it's been dug through with a junk of mess, laying all over the floor. Spider webs were seen even under the desk also. We were now heading to the hall to the right. The walls were dusty and nasty. It would. Rick was making fun of Sam, saying that Sam does belong here, because he's always looking to mess around the things here. Sam jokes about being a son of a doctor who used to work here, which we both knew he loves to make fake jokes to make us fall for it. We went on to the next room to see what was in there. This time, we found a big brown teddy bear, lying on a bed by the wall, covered over with a white sheet. Now that was something we were not expecting to see for getting spooky. "Someone's been playing here lately," said Sam. Rick went ahead, just leaving me and Sam in the room. There was a handprint mark made on the dusty window. "Rick, you may want to slow down and wait for us," said Sam, walking out of the room before me, when I thought some people may have done the same thing as we did, coming here to mess around. Sam was acting all tough, like he wasn't scared, being too excited to be here, fooling around as I watched him by walking after him, leaving out of the room. For some reason, Rick had disappeared when he wasn't answering either. We walked into the shadowy hall and didn't find Rick standing there anymore. Where has he gone to? I thought, seeing there were still rooms sitting ahead. Maybe he got taken away, Sam jokes back. Both of us started laughing and went on forward to check the rooms ahead. The first two rooms, Rick wasn't even in there either. Coming to the next room, we found an old nursing gown hanging by an old broken cabinet. I was standing right outside of the room, watching Sam stepping into the room, looking around. I felt a shadow came brushing by to the left. Then I quickly turned to look to see how it was, though I happened to see nobody in the hall, thinking it could have been in the next room. I whispered to Sam, suggesting Rick may possibly be in the next room, saying, "Get over here, Sam. I think he's right in the next room." Sam gently walks out of the room, all excitedly happy, and goes right ahead to check right into the next room. Unfortunately, there was nobody inside of the room either. "There's nobody in here," Sam said, turning to me with a smile, when I swear, I saw a shadow passed right by me earlier. A hand intentionally comes out, reaching to his shoulder, and pulls him right inside when I was just standing there watching. I ran quickly over there to look at what had happened inside after my heart dropped. It was only Rick, who grabbed Sam into the room. He said he was hiding behind the door. "Look who's the chicken now," Rick teases Sam, seeing that Sam had gotten a little scared. That's what happens when you hang with naughty guys, I thought to myself that very second. They're always trying to scare the soul out of each other's for doing some weird things. Hopefully, none of them too won't try to scare me next in this old scary abandoned asylum, I kept telling myself. While we were just standing there, talking about going deeper into the building, a cat's voice meowed out of nowhere. What the heck was that? Sam burst as he froze, just listening, looking at me and Rick, only moving his eyes. We didn't think there would be a cat in here, or anyone inside. The cats must be everywhere in this old place. A glass drops from the next room, across from the room we were standing, and startles us three. Strange thing about it was that there wasn't air flowing into the room, and how could it have dropped by itself? The three of us looked at each other before facing that room right across. Sam walks ahead to look, then a cat jumps out of his face before running away down the hall. Rick was laughing so hard at Sam, seeing how scared Sam was, getting caught in fear that second. I knew Sam was very angry afterwards, seeing his reaction when Rick laughed, but he didn't want to show it. He took off the doctor's coat and threw it right onto the floor. Rick was tapping on my arm and giggling at Sam, who was walking right ahead in front of us too for the next minute. There was a two-door entrance, standing right in front of us, at the end of the hall. I needed to tie my shoelace, just realizing it had fallen loose, so I stopped, and bent down to tie my shoelaces as the other guys walked through the doors. When I got back onto my feet, standing straight up, I saw something from one of the reflections on a small window of the two doors. It appears like a woman, who has her long dark hairs covered down over her evil smiling face, standing behind my shoulder. She has both of her hands raised high, like she was trying to come grab me, right behind that very second, if I didn't turn around. I quickly glanced back over to my right shoulder, turning my body to the right. Eventually, I saw nobody standing there right behind me, except myself just staring down the hallway direction, where we all three were coming from. My heart felt like it was beating fast, like a drummer playing his drum in a parade. Was I losing my mind for being in this asylum? I don't know what I just saw, but I know I felt something was behind me. "You're freaking out, bro," said Rick, opening the door, with his head sticking inside, seeing me appearing uncomfortably, looking lost at the moment. "No," I answer after a gap of seconds, still seeing the image of the reflection appearing in mine, before following them right into the two doors. But I was for sure I did see what I believed I saw from the reflection. I tried to brush it off, like nothing, but inside I was beginning to worry now. Is being here driving my head insane? I asked myself. It was getting quite dark in the next room, appearing to be a waiting lobby room, but not as big as the main one in the front reception. Dusty seats were still seen set in rows. A doll was found, sitting right in the middle of a row of seats, by the corner. A picture of an older man, who looked like a doctor, was lying upside down, on the wall close to the next doorway. The frame was smashed, almost as if someone did it, or maybe hated that doctor. It doesn't appear as if it was dropped by accident to the floor. Sam mentioned that he needed to pee right away, for having too many drinks from the restaurant earlier. He was apparently the one who over-ordered drinks like crazy, back in the Denny's restaurant. Rick told him to go find the restroom himself. We went through the next door, leaving this waiting lobby room, and found a restroom, just 2 rooms right ahead. The 3 of us walk into the restroom one by one, following each other from behind. Sam was the last one, and he placed the door holder on the bottom to hold the door open wide. It only has a small window, but there has been a wooden board nailed to cover the window. We have to use our phones for lights, due to the electricity being shut off. However, my phone was occasionally halfway down the battery percentage, from draining down a lot, since I didn't fully charge it earlier. The toilets were all broken with no water appearing inside. A few toilets were found totally disgusting, with people leaving bowel movements inside, which did smell kind of bad when standing close to the toilet stall. A few toilet stalls have broken doors, pushed inside laying over the toilet. Sam went to pee on the last toilet stall, as Rick and I stood there, waiting for him. I was looking at myself, right in the reflection at the old dusty cracked mirror, by the sink. I wanted to tell them so much about the creepy woman, who I saw earlier from the reflection of the 2 doors, but I didn't want them to freak out, thinking I'm trying to scare them. There was no words that could explain that encounter at all. Even now, standing in the dark restroom was getting me chills already. I'd rather we get out of here first, before talking about seeing anything inside of this place, especially when we are all standing in an old restroom, with no lights on, only using my friend's cell phones as lights. What's taking so long? You're doing a number 2 emergency there. Rick asks, goofing around, and laughing when I wasn't. For a minute, Sam wasn't answering. He was in one of the toilet stalls, taking a leak. I saw someone, or a shadow, which I wasn't quite too sure about, directly, from the mirror reflection, walking past the restroom door, in the hall. Rick went to check on Sam, why he was taking so long, nor answering him back. Sam jumps out, and scares him with a white covering mouth mask, which he must have found somewhere in the rooms. Rick almost happens to punch him, on the face, but he misses by a few inches. "Dude, you were going to get knockout," Rick burst out, when I knew he really meant to punch Sam in the face, if it was Sam who was actually the one doing that to him jumping out of the stall. Sam was laughing this time, and taking off the mouth cover mask, saying to Rick, "You should have seen the look on your face." Rick already knew Sam was trying to get him back, since they were always acting like this whenever we were together. The restroom door is squeaking, closing on us by itself. That really got our attention, freezing all together, silently, thinking how did the door even close, when Sam had placed a door holder under the door earlier, the second we all first walked in together. "Is someone here with us?" asked Sam, seeing me and Rick wasn't even sure either, except staring at the door like we both were totally scared after the door closed. I walk over to open the door, and look out by sticking my head out into the hall. Somehow, there was nobody there, when looking in both directions. Not a single sound or movement was happening when I was peeking. We walk out of the restroom together, trying to stay close together. I felt Rick holding onto my lower back shirt, like he was shivering. I was getting a little scared now, much more than before I first walked into the asylum. My fingers were trembling. I knew I saw something walking past the door earlier. We went further to the end of the building, and found nothing but trash around the floor. I told them, we should just leave because there's nothing for us to be here looking for anything. Sam kept teasing me, and Rick, saying we were too scared, saying that we were both trying to make excuses to get out of here soon as possible. Rick asks Sam what he's going to do, just stay here and smash things around, acting like a child. Sam smiles and walks over to a cabinet standing in another office, saying, "Hallelujah." We didn't know what he was up to this time. Sam then suddenly pushes the cabinet to the floor, then a body falls out in front of us. What did I just see? I never thought this would happen right in my face. It was a body of a homeless man who may have died here. His skin appears like he may have died not too long ago here. He wore a gray torn sweater over a faded dirty jean pants, and had no shoes on, but only dirty torn socks. The three of us, panicking, ran out of the area, trying to get back outside, straight to where we came from. I didn't dare to even glance back, when running after my friends who both were in front of me. After getting outside, we ran into the car, and drove off, when it was nightfall already for being inside way too long. When we left the asylum, we contacted the police right away, telling them that a homeless man was found dead in that place. After that, I can tell Sam was apparently traumatized, seeing a dead body. He was quiet all day, when we drove back home. The whole time we drove home he didn't even speak a word, or ask us to buy him anything, during the stops for the gas. It wasn't too long later, when we last met at his party, about a few weeks later, Sam mentioned to me, he saw that same exact homeless man, who died in the asylum, was standing outside of his house, just a month after we left that trip to see the asylum. I find it spooky about this, because Sam said, the ghost of the homeless man, was even holding the mouth cover mask, which Sam wore to scare Rick in the restroom from inside of the asylum. Ever since that, Sam moved out of his home and left to live in another city, located about 4-hour drive away.